my brothers, were called to be free. You, my brothers, were called to be free.
When you're trying to see in the dark, even a small circle of light helps. Hello, my name is Daniel Westbrooks, and I want to welcome you to this year's Touchstone Tribute, the virtual edition. Perfect vision is referred to as 2020, but I can honestly say that I don't believe that this was a year that anyone saw coming. And most would say this year has been far from perfect. In the past, Touchstone's annual fundraising event has been set up right here in this very room, usually filled with people circled around tables, enjoying dinner and listening to powerful stories of the impact of Touchstone. Last year, I was a guest at one of those tables. I believe right over here. But this year is different in a lot of ways, particularly for me. This year, I have a new role. I am honored to be your guide through all that is 2020 as we join together in this circle to share stories of how God is using the ministry of Touchstone to help us navigate. As the prophet Isaiah has said, out of gloom and darkness so that the eyes of the blind will see. The best guides, in my opinion, are those with experience. So I would like to start by telling you my experience with Touchstone. My connection there began because of something I went through that I now know far too many kids experience. I came from a great family with a mom and a dad who I know loved me. Things weren't always perfect, but life was good. It was good, that is, until it wasn't. Until as a young boy, I was sexually abused by a close family member. Being abused began a dark and confusing time in my life. This was nothing I knew how to talk about, nor nothing I thought I ever could tell anyone. So I didn't. Thankfully, my brother walked in on one of those episodes of abuse that I suffered and did what I couldn't do. He told. By telling, my brother stopped the abuse, but that didn't stop the damage. I felt like there was something wrong with me. Like I was now broken and damaged goods. And if I couldn't accept what happened to me, how could I expect anyone else to ever accept me? My greatest fear was that no one in the world ever would. And if this was all that life would ever be, I wanted out. So in the 8th grade, I tried to find that way out. I tried to end my life. That attempt was the beginning of my time with Touchstone. Talking to a counselor was nothing I planned on doing and didn't come easy for me. My ability to trust was gone. But over time, I felt that I could trust my counselor enough to even get involved with other Touchstone activities. Things like meeting with other kids in the park. I even went on a few weekend retreats. For me, everything we did was fun, and we'd always seem to end up having talks. We would talk about love, talk about family, and talk about what a relationship with God looks like. But while everything Touchstone offered me was beneficial, it wasn't some kind of magical quick fix. I was still hurting, and at the same time, I was becoming a very angry teenager. I found out the hard way, at least in my situation, that hurt can become depression, and unfortunately, depression becomes anger. The family member who violated me took away my power and made me feel weak. I hated that feeling, and I will never forget how, as a teenager, that helpless feeling just melted away the first time that I ever put my hand on a gun. I thought that's how I could take my power back, by overpowering others. Just like that scripture from Isaiah, I was lost in the gloom and darkness of what had been done to me and had become blind to everything and everyone else. I had no compassion, no empathy, and no true love for anyone, especially for myself. For a teenager, gang life on the streets doesn't last long before you're caught. A few stints in the Juvenile Justice Detention Center turned into a few years of incarceration as an adult after I turned 18. Even though I was still relatively young, I had wasted way too many years of my life in and out of prison. I remember thinking once I got out, I would never go back in. But it didn't take long before I was looking at losing my freedom again. This time I found out that I was facing charges that could have kept me in prison for a big part of the rest of my life. But by the grace of God, most of my charges were dropped. And that was a turning point for me. I decided to use everything, good and bad, that I had been through to help others, especially kids like me. My plan was to take every opportunity that I had to be about helping others. I was determined to be all over the community, talking and listening to kids. And that's why I'm here now. About a year ago, as I was pulling out of my parking spot at a local high school, I saw a familiar face I thought I knew walking across the parking lot. As he got closer, I rolled down my truck window and yelled out, "Your name Jim, ain't it?" As he answered yes, a smile came upon his face when I told him, "It's me, Daniel." It had been like 20 years since I had seen my counselor from Touchstone. I immediately felt warmth and acceptance, like finding a good friend again. It was like coming back to a good place during a good time. One of the meanings for the word touchstone is a fundamental part or feature, something that you can always come back to. My early days with Touchstone are a fundamental part of who I am today. Like I said before, it's not a quick fix, but it is a part of all that God is using to make me, and a whole lot of kids just like me, into the person He wants me to be. I'm certainly not the first person Touchstone has helped, and with your support, I won't be the last. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to ask you to spend a few minutes listening and seeing what Touchstone is all about and how you can be involved too. And coming up, we have a very special guest joining us. Award-winning broadcast journalist Demetria Kalodimos will present this year's Hero Awards. You definitely don't want to miss that. Throughout our time together, you're going to see ways you can help teens scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Please use this opportunity to help as many kids as you can. I am just one of the many people who have found hope and help through Touchstone. Let's take a look now and hear from a few more.
You, my brothers, were called to be free. You, my brothers, were called to be free.
I got involved with Civil through one of my really good friends. She told me about the group and said that she thought I'd be a good candidate for it, and I think that was probably the best decision I ever made, was joining Civil.
One another in love. No, do not use your freedom to indulge the sinful nature. Rather serve one another in love. You, my brothers, were called to be free. You, my brothers, were called to be free. Yeah, you, my sisters, were called to be free. My sisters were called to be free. The entire law is summed up in a single
So the thing that I like most about Civil is that it brings us together under the understanding that we are all in this together as one, that we come from all different shapes, sizes, colors, religions, and different backgrounds, but we're all in this together to help each other be the person that we have potential to be, the best person that we have potential to be.
Yeah, you, my sisters, were called to be free. You, my sisters, were called to be free. Oh, you, my brothers, were called to be free. You, my brothers, were called to be free. Yeah, you, my sisters.
It tends to be hard to make friends, or when you do make friends, it tends to be hard to
differentiate yourself from them when you're supposed to be kind of figuring out who you are in this time. It's really hard to find out, who you should hang out with or who you shouldn't, and what good decisions are as a teenager.
My sisters were called to be free.
Oh, hey, I'm Melanie Pugh Weber, the Executive Director of Touchstone. Come on in, join me. I'm actually back here working behind the scenes because honestly, I'm a whole lot more comfortable with that. Many of the stories happen in front of the camera. You just saw a whole lot of the photos of the work we do. But there's so much work that has to happen before the cameras start rolling, before the students show up, before the service projects begin, before the vans ever hit the road. So here's your own behind the scenes look at the work of Touchstone. We typically begin with our wonderful staff, volunteers, all kind of circled up together like this, around a table, planning, organizing, and of course, sending up a prayer too, always needed when you work with teens. And to ensure that all those folks have the resources they need for all the groups and activities they do, Touchstone's board of directors circle up together. Well, nowadays it's Zoom, but I think we can kind of consider that a circle. Anyway, Daniel talked earlier about circles too, and how the guests at our tribute usually are circled around a table out in the large venue out there. I like circles. A circle creates a connection between people. When you're gathered up with others in a circle, that's a strong presence, and it's a very powerful and protective. It's better than kind of being left out by yourself. A circle creates an experience in which everyone comes together as equals. No one's higher than somebody else. No one's left apart when you're in a circle. Most of Touchstone's civil group meetings happen with students around a table just like this, basically. Since 1987, Touchstone has been on a mission. Our mission is to inspire change by helping youth envision a hopeful future, embrace positive options, and engage in real steps towards a better life. Adolescence is a tough time in a person's development. There's a whole lot going on during those teen years. Touchstone offers services and support to teens through their schools, churches, camps, youth centers, services which help them deal with what's going on in their hearts, the good and the bad. In addition to offering our regular programs, 2020 has brought about some new needs for sure. We now make sure teens have practical things they need like computers, clothes, toiletries, face masks. And when it's time to celebrate important milestones like high school graduation, we make sure students have senior portraits to give to their family and friends. Currently, Touchstone's top offering in the area of social emotional learning, or SEL, as you hear in schools, is our program called Civil. Civil is an SEL program that is research-based and highly effective. We often hear back from Civil students who let us know that without Civil, they didn't know where they'd end up in life. I recently ran into one of our now 20-something former students. Actually, she was in one of my civil groups. Tiffany told me that she was just recently telling a friend of hers about Civil and everything it offered her during high school, about all the small group meetings and the service projects and how it had such an incredible impact on her life. All her friend could say was, wow, I wish I could have been in something like that. Why can't every student in every school have Civil? Well, why not? Why shouldn't all teens have access to the life-changing services of Touchstone? In addition to our mission, Touchstone has a vision that within the next 3 years, we will expand our reach in providing the best in SEL programming, training, and curriculum, the workforce and leadership to be able to accomplish that growth, and the budget to fund the work that needs to be done. Even though it's not what we thought 2020 would be, Touchstone's vision is clear. And there's no better time to circle up with us to move through this crazy, confusing time right now. We just want to remind you that scrolling below on your screen, you'll see ways to expand our reach, our workforce and leadership, and our budget. I got to tell you, when you become part of the work of Touchstone, you become involved with a great group of people.
Hey, Mel, you done yet?
No, man, I'm not done. You're not done either.
But what do you mean I'm not done?
You're not done because you got to introduce Demetria.
Oh,
But I do like that shirt.
you like this? You know I made it, right?
Yeah, okay. But anyway, get out there now, get back in your suit, go.
Gotcha.
Okay. Oh. I want you to see just some of those incredible folks while you consider how you want to join the circle. And please stay tuned for a special message from Touchstone's board chair, Glenn Hunter. And don't go anywhere, because right after that, Demetria Kaladimos will join us for the big announcement, the recipients of this year's Hero Awards.
There's a circle around the cross where the weak and weary kneel with the lost to plead for mercy in desperate prayer and find forgiveness is granted there. There's a circle around the cross where we will bow in worship and in awe to break his body and share his blood, granting forgiveness, giving his love. What a wonderful trade at the throne of grace, where a debt was paid for a dying race. What a sweet reunion at the fount of love, drawing communion from the heart of God. There's a circle around the cross where all our teardrops have stained the dust. As a mark of hope, they mingle till that day when sorrow's tears are washed away. What a wonderful trade and a throne of grace, where a debt was paid for a dying race. What a sweet reunion at the fount of love, drawing communion from the heart of God. There's a circle around the cross where hand in hand we stand and count the cost. Oh, we must take his cross up as our own, but we will never bear. We'll never bear his cross alone. We're in the circle. There's a circle.
Hello, I am Glenn W. Hunter, the board chair for Touchstone Youth Resource Services. I wish to personally thank you for joining us for this celebration. Full confession, I am not a teacher by trade. Actually, I'm a branding consultant. I also work in media and education, but in short, I help organizations, businesses, people tell their story, get smarter, and benefit from the experience. So to maximize my strengths, storytelling, as I alluded to, I want to tell you a story. A long time ago, students were told to be seen and not heard. They did not like it then, they do not like it now. A lot of smart people who are responsible to make sure that these students grew into good young people neglected to provide social emotional coping skills that enabled them to navigate life in the classroom and, more importantly, in their daily activities, informing their personalities. The ability to connect emotionally, positively, compassionately is part of a community's ability to function productively. We have to all get along. Doing that must be done intentionally. Enter Touchstone Youth Resource Services. Touchstone emerged to demonstrate that someone finally started listening to the students. The staff of Touchstone listened, they consoled, they were compassionate, and then students became smarter. Not just intellectually, but emotionally too. Emotional intelligence is definitely intelligence. As that dynamic evolved, our youth and parents were grateful to Touchstone Youth Resource Services because Touchstone listened, cared, and loved to the point that kids felt better about themselves. And they all lived, well, happily ever after is how the next line goes. But this story has not been completed yet. Touchstone needs to move these young people forward, equipped for their happily ever after. But that part of the story needs more funding. This fundraiser, this tribute, is one of the main reasons that Touchstone Youth Resource Services has the ability to pour into our youth, deliver coping skills, facilitate emotional intelligence, and train to make better life decisions. They will learn explicitly how to contribute more to society. Now, back to that happily ever after. That's where you come in. We need your financial support. Personal confidence and life coping skills go a long way toward better life decisions. And better life decisions make better communities, and better cities, and better local economies. Your donation channels directly into these outcomes. Our children are ready to do better. Your generous donations directly contribute to community-affirming programming and subsequently productive life choices. We need to raise $65,000 by year's end to ensure that Touchstone services are not interrupted. One-time gifts are greatly appreciated. But this year, we want to add 100 new monthly donors to keep the flow of support coming in. 100 new monthly donors to keep the flow of support coming in. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see how to link to our giving page. An easy way is to use the QR code, which you can scan with your phone. And you can always visit tyrs.org, Touchstone Youth Resource Services, tyrs.org, to give, to volunteer, or to contact us. And when you give, please look for the option to pick up the processing fees on our giving page. That amount helps us quickly. Now is the time to invest in youth, in our future. Again, I am Glenn W. Hunter, Board Chair of Touchstone Youth Resource Services. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your ongoing support.
Hello, I'm Demetria Kaladimos. Telling powerful and compelling stories is something that truly matters to me. As a television journalist, I've told thousands of stories, more than I can count. Back in 2006, I was honored to tell the story of students from a local high school who traveled down to Mississippi to help the people along the Gulf Coast recover from the ravages of Hurricane Katrina. That story was my introduction to the work of Touchstone. The students were members of Touchstone's civil groups. And instead of describing it, why don't I just let you see for yourself? Let's take a look back at that story.
Well, while most students are kicking back to enjoy the lazy days of summer now, students from Nashville's Stratford High pitched in for hurricane relief.
For a mental picture, it's like a heart being mended, something like that. It's like half was destruction, but within the half, there was a rose blossoming or something like that.
The group of 6 students spent 4 days in the Mississippi Delta helping to rebuild homes destroyed by Hurricane Katrina. Some were surprised by how the efforts helped them.
We took some wood, took some nails, broke down some plywood, and long hours of the day. Felt like quitting, but endurance was a big factor. And I think that we really kind of overcame our obstacles that day.
We were talking about a slogan that we saw written on a wall that said, when everything's underwater, hope floats. And watching that kind of hope come to the surface, knowing that that's what we bring back with us.
The students are members of an organization called Civil Groups, which is designed to build student character.
Touchstone Civil students went down to help people along the Gulf Coast who had lost homes, material possessions, even loved ones. Each evening, after dinner, the group of Civil students and adults would sit in a circle and share stories of the work they got to do and the people they met each day. The stories were inspiring. And even though the students went down to Mississippi to make a difference, they returned home different. Since that very first civil service trip, Touchstone Civil Initiative has helped that group of teens and hundreds more become heroes to the people as far away as the Gulf Coast and as close as their own communities. A hero is someone who is regarded for their courageous acts, a person who, in the opinion of others, has special achievements, abilities, or personal qualities, and is regarded as a role model for others. The work of Touchstone gives teens the opportunity to develop the achievements, abilities, and qualities that can make them a role model for others, to make them a hero. Every year, Touchstone recognizes people who have become heroes in helping Touchstone accomplish its mission. These hero awards are named for Touchstone's 3 core values: faith, growth, and legacy. And now it's time to announce Touchstone's 2020 Hero Award recipients. Our first Hero Award is the Faith Award, and it's presented to a student who's a committed participant in the work of Touchstone. Faith is believing in something that you can't see. The leaders of Touchstone know that a teenager is just a glimpse of the person they'll become one day. But with our first honoree, even just a glimpse into the life of this student, you can see incredible resilience and a remarkable work ethic. You'll see a tender heart that longs to help others, and so much more. Whether it's weekly group meetings, meaningful service projects, or other enrichment activities, she is there. This year's Faith Award goes to civil student Reginae Locke.
First, I want to say thank you for choosing me. It really means a lot to me. I haven't really got a lot of awards like that ever before, and I'm not used to having attention on me. But civil means a lot to me, and I'm glad that I'm being recognized, I guess. I personally do not think of myself as a hero. I'm flattered that y'all think of me as a hero. I consider myself a very strong person and a courageous person. I've been through a lot, but I never thought I was like a hero age type of way. For somebody to think I'm resilient and hardworking makes me feel really good about myself and my decisions I've been making and how I've been carrying myself. It just makes me feel good. Over the years, Civil has inspired me to give back to the community, have faith, see past people that outside, I would say, and get to know people better and actually listen and care about people's stories. Civil has given me plenty of opportunities with friendships, community service, free therapy. I would say Civil has completely boosted my confidence, because when I first started, I was very, very shy. Well, I'm still shy, but I was very shy, and I really felt horrible about myself. But you all have made me feel very loved and cared for, and this made me overall feel better as a person. They helped me a lot with personal things, my attitude, my willingness to talk to people, because I hate talking to people. I overall became a better person since I started Civil. As I get older, I still want to be in Civil. I know it's going to be a little different because I want to be a student, but I want to help. I actually want to help with the newer students and give back to y'all and like be that mentor that I had when I was in Civil to other people. I would just like to say I love all of y'all. I appreciate it. Y'all taking me under y'all wings and helping me since freshman year. And I really appreciate everybody in this program. I love all y'all.
Our next Hero Award is the Growth Award. The process of growth takes someone from where they are to where they need to be. Our next honoree not only does that every day with his students, he's also opened that door for Touchstone to grow and expand its impact. At his recommendation and partnership, last year Touchstone was able to expand its civil initiative into a whole new arena, middle school. The best advertisement for Touchstone comes from those who have seen the effect of its work and want to see it grow. This year's recipient has done just that, whether through his work as a teacher, a coach, and now school administrator. Our next honoree is known as the best. Not only does he give his best, he brings out the best in all those around him. This year, Touchstone presents the Growth Award to Brian Harrell.
Wow. I'm honored to receive this award. Every day my job is just to go in and just try to be the best role model, best teacher, best admin, best person that I can be on a daily basis. I've just been fortunate to be in some very good situations, to be around some really good people and some really good kids. And I'm just happy and grateful that I've been able to impact so many. I was fortunate as a child to have a great role model in my parents. In order for a child to become inspired, I feel like you have to be the person that makes them see the growth in themselves, regardless of how small. So when I was coaching track and field, I was interested in the small success of the student. Hey, you ran 12 seconds last week. This week, you ran 11.8. Do you realize how fast that is? And by them seeing those small accomplishments, and you keep harping on, like, this is what work gets you, putting them in position to see models of individuals who are actually doing the thing that you said that they do. And so that's kind of how I go about teaching, administrating. You need to see the small successes first, and then grow from there. We want these kids to be successful. We want them to grow and be great role models and be great parents and leaders and pillars in the community. And you can't partner with a better organization that has the same ideas as you have internally. That is what makes relationships work. And having the opportunity of seeing what Touchstone was able to do with a couple of our students here last year in the 7th and 8th grade, and to see where they're going now, which a lot of them are at over 10. I ran into one of them that's going to Cambridge. It's just been an awesome experience. If you're looking to give to an organization whose sole purpose is to enhance students' lives to the point to where they're going to give them volunteer opportunities. They're going to give them leadership opportunities. They're going to mentor them and shape them to become the best human being possible, best citizen that you could ever think of possible. There's no reason why you wouldn't want to give your money to Touchstone, why you wouldn't want to donate. I can't think of a better organization that I've seen over the years take students, mentor students that I know that most people would have thrown away, and see those kids now today be on the ballot for commissions, be lawyers, be doctors. Some are going to college right now. Some are owning their own business right now. Those same students that some folks would have thrown away, I've seen how mentoring a child can develop a child to become a successful individual.
And now for the Legacy Award. A legacy is a lasting effect or an act that ensures that an effort will have impact for many years to come. This can certainly be done with financial support, but even more, it's done through a commitment to prayer, counsel, and emotional support for all the leadership, students, and activities of Touchstone. It's done through offers of expertise and advice, as well as years of service on Touchstone's board of directors. This year, the Hero Award for Legacy goes to a very special person, or I should say persons. We want to recognize a couple who has been part of Touchstone's support team for more than 25 years in all those ways that will ensure Touchstone's ministry will last for many more years to come. At this time, we'd like to present the Legacy Award to Dennis and Ruthie Davis.
Wow, well, thank you. We feel very honored to be the recipient of an award, and a little surprised when we heard. So we're happy to be recognized, but we also feel like it's just what we would do, because Touchstone is such an easy thing to make a decision about.
Dennis and I are really honored to be receiving an award, but it's something that's just been a part of our life for so long, and something that we believe in as a couple very strongly. I taught in the public schools in Metro for quite a while, and have seen the impact of children who struggle with self-regulation and how it impacts their whole life, their relationships, their academics. And if there's not people in their life who are modeling for them the behaviors and patterns and the vision for their life, then
they don't have any idea what to do.
Yeah. Having a group at a school where you feel safe, emotionally safe, and you can share the struggles that you're going through, I think is huge for kids. And so many kids just don't have that. And Touchstone is an opportunity for any kid to have that kind of lunch table group where they're accepted, they're kind of all in the same boat, and to give each other support and guidance, really.
Yeah. For me, a lot of times, imagining bringing people into Touchstone, I think about the fundraisers that I've been at in the past. I've been to all of them. And every time I'm there, I hear kids talk about the impact of their lives, what you're talking about. And I'm always just moved deeply. And I think, oh, I wish everybody I know could do this. I wish everybody I know could be a part of this, because it is so powerful. Because we really want to pass on a legacy. We would just like to say that there can be no better way to do it that I can think of than to be involved with an organization like Touchstone that is absolutely changing lives for the better, and has been for a long, long time. So to help others, we have to make a choice. We have to say to ourselves, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this happen, and then stick to that plan. And so I'm just asking everybody to make that commitment and figure out how to make that commitment work for you. It is really important.
Heroes are forged during challenging times, and 2020 has become a time when truly, if we ever needed a hero, it's now. It's been said that a hero is just an ordinary person who does an ordinary thing that makes an extraordinary difference. You can be a hero to kids in your community through Touchstone. On the screen below, you see ways to give, to get your kids involved, or to get involved yourself. Donate, participate, or volunteer. That ordinary thing you do could very well make you a hero to a kid like
me.
A kid like Daniel.
Let's all continue to work together to see clearly through the darkness with 2020 vision, to tell stories of impact and hope. We need Touchstone's work with teams. Thank you for joining us for this year's Touchstone Tribute. A special thanks to our sponsors and to everyone who made the 2020 Touchstone Tribute virtual edition possible. See you next year.
See you next year. Good job. I think we nailed it. Yeah.